In this Clash of Clans video, we are going to teach you the only attack you need to know for the CWL. Make league wins easy with this attack. We're going to break it down, show you everything you're going to need. We have 6 different variations of it. You're not going to want to miss any of these attacks, so let's get into it. Alrighty guys, let's dive into this first attack, and the strategy we are talking about is the Pekka BoBat. In my opinion, it is the best strategy for the Clan War Leagues and potentially in the game in general. Be sure to let me know yours down in the comments, but we're going to explain exactly why you should be using this strategy in the Clan War Leagues. So Raison here is attacking one of them ring style bases, not quite, but we do have an example of one of them island bases coming up, and you will be seeing that in the Clan War Leagues. Now the reason this strategy is the best for the CWL is it is a safe 2-star strategy. We're coming in towards the town hall with a heavy kill squad. Now that will assure you the 1-star, and then because you're using bats on the back end of the base, they will swoop through the defenses and also clear out a section of the base that you can easily clean up, assuring that 2-star. But it also gives you the potential for the 3 stars. Now if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for all of my Clash of Clans videos, and I'd also recommend turning on the notification bell, because that's the only way you can stay up to date with all of my videos. Now once you've made that heavy push with your kill squad, you're then swooping bats around the outside of the base to the remaining defenses. Probably the main thing you have to think about with the bats is using troops or spells to get rid of splash damage defenses. So Raison used an ice golem to tank the wizard tower on the perimeter. If you've got defenses further in, you're probably going to have to use a freeze spell and use them fairly quickly. You do not want any splash damage defenses even getting a single hit onto your spells. Now if you do want to join Red Elite and our journey through the Clan War Leagues, be sure to join my Discord server. All of my social media links are down below, and you'll find everything you need to know. But let's move on to the next attack so we can continue to break down this strategy so you know exactly how to use it. We now have Dipfail coming in with the Pekka BoBat. Now let's start with the very beginning of the attack. You're going to want to set up your funnel as effectively as possible. Now if you want to see different methods for setting up your funnel, I'll link a video I did recently at the end explaining all of this, but basically try and set it up as wide as possible. You do not want your troops walking, especially in the Clan War League. You need to get them into the base, but also as efficiently as possible. So an Electro Dragon actually got huge value here. We'd also set up the funnel in this area, missing the wizard tower though. Remember, ranged troops can shoot across, so we do lose a couple of bowlers, but essentially what you need to ensure is you get the bulk of your troops into the base itself, because remember, your main target here with your kill squad is to take out a section of the base for the bats, but you've got to get that town hall within the Clan War Leagues. Obviously, if it's a regular war, it's not quite as pivotal, shall we say, but essentially your wall wrecker is going to be your best friend. You need to get all the way through to that town hall in order to reach it. You're then bringing in your bats around the other area of the base. We will break that bit down a little bit more, but essentially you're thinning out an area of the base where you know the bats are going to go. You need to get your queen to an area where she can reach the town hall. If you get your bowlers there and the Pekkas, perfect, but you need to be within 1 radius away, if that makes sense, 1 compartment away, so that your ranged troops can reach it. You don't want to try and take that out with the bats. Remember, I would probably think about the troops in your wall wrecker as well, because if you can, a Pekka and an ice golem work incredibly well. Even if the rest of your bowlers walk, if you get the wall wrecker to the town hall with a Pekka and an ice golem, you'll probably take that down with just them troops. So it offers you that little extra fail-safe fail-safe, which again you need within the Clan War Leagues, but let's move to the next attack to break it down further. We now have King Bishop of Red Elite coming in to take down this base with the Pekka BoBat. Now all of the attacks you will see in this video are indeed 3-star strategies and 3-star attacks, but remember, in the Clan War Leagues you've got to secure that 2-star, and this strategy will offer you the opportunity of the high percentage. So even if you don't get the 3-star, it does happen that you don't get it, guys. I don't want to give you a false impression on this video, but it should ensure you the save 2 and the high percentage 3. Try and think about that as well. Maybe you're not 100% on the 3-star, maybe there's a defense on the outside that you can use 2 or 3 balloons to take out as your Pekkas are coming through, or potentially it then opens up a huge area of the base to then get percentage. Remember, that might be pivotal, so do try and boost the percent. It's not always about the 3, well, it kind of is, but essentially do have in the back of your mind plan Bs and Cs and Ds. That is exactly what you want to be doing for the Clan War Leagues with that one single attack. So again, we set up the funnel. If you do want to rewind the video, have a check of the value that the Electro Dragon got there. Again, just showing you that you can use the E-Drags to set up that funnel on the inside of the base as well, and check it out. The kill squad has taken huge amounts of areas of the base down here. The bats have already been deployed, taken out a little section and gone down, but essentially if you can either protect the bats, that's perfect, you're going to want to do that, but if you can take out a section of the base is what I was going to say, you might also enable the rest of your troops in order to clean up the rest. Now time can be a factor here, guys, so let's look at this area of the base. Look, this is where them couple of balloons followed by, let's say, some wizards might be helpful, but also the bat spells themselves. Let's say, for example, the bats had cleared this area of the base, you would then want to send in some wizards. You don't want to time fail based on the bats themselves. Let's swiftly move along from this one to move to the next, and we'll continue breaking this down so you can best perform the strategy. Okay, so for this attack, we're going to focus more on the bat spells. We've looked at the kill squad, we've looked at getting into the center of the base. Hopefully you guys know that part of this strategy by now. At the end of the video, we also have the Pekkas and Bowlers 3-starring without the bat spells. I thought I'd show you that to show you the difference of when you can and cannot use the bats, or not necessarily cannot, but when it might not be as beneficial. So again, we've got that main portion coming through. Do be conscious of how far you have to get, ensure you can get there. Again, the Wall Wrecker is probably the main troop you want to ensure gets through the base, because you've got to get to that town hall. So make sure the Pekkas are in before it, especially initially, because it is going to then go ahead of them and start taking fire. But let's get into it. We're essentially going to be taking down all of this with the kill squad. That is pretty epic. Now, what you then want to do is use the bats. You could either use them from this area or this area. Really doesn't matter. You could argue both ways. But essentially, once we've taken out this area of the base, you can see how it's nice and thin. You know exactly where the bats would go. They're not going to spread out massively. They're going to be relatively condensed, and that is exactly what you need. You need the bats to work together. You want to increase that DPS as much as possible, and that is why you use the bat wave technique, particularly with this attack. We will show you the next one. I use, or not me, the attacker uses the bat bomb technique, and we'll show you why that is used. But essentially the bat wave deploys all of the bats in one area. So look, by the time they get to the defense, they've actually already got a huge wave of bats together to move through them defenses. Yes, they continue to spawn, and again, do have a plan for them splash damages. Freeze early, as you can see here. You do not want a single hit onto the bats, even if that means you freeze a little earlier. Even if you don't get the 3-star, it will help you get a higher percent by not losing them bats too quickly. And look at it, guys, still bats left over, still queen with the ability. Time fail doing a fantastic job on this one. We've got 2 more attacks for you. One of them uses the bat bomb technique, so we'll explain that, and then the last one doesn't even use the bats at all. So let's move on. Okay, we have Razon now coming in with another Pekka BoBat. Now, I've got to be honest with you guys, I know I said at the start of the video that I'd show you one of the island bases. In my head, when I'd planned out these attacks, I thought for some reason that this was one of them, but I will bring you a separate video on that in the upcoming videos. So do be sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so that you do not miss out. Right, let's get into this one then. The funnel has been created fantastically with basically bowlers and Pekkas here and the Electro Dragon here. Do think about the Pekkas in terms of using them on buildings so that they then redirect into the base and not necessarily around the outside. But it does depend. Sometimes that is beneficial. Again, for the Clan War Leagues coming into this main area, using the Grand Warden's ability over the Giga Bomb, that is most likely the best place to use it. If you can time it with the Eagle as well, ideal. And if you are pressing into a little area like this, chances are there is huge damage coming into there, so you're going to have to commit a jump spell in order to get out and provide you with that better value. Again, Bat Wave technique coming in from the side. Think about the Bat Bomb technique. Again, I must apologize because I thought this was the Bat Bomb technique, so I do apologize. I will show that in a different video. But essentially, if you place the bats here, there'd be damage coming in from each and every angle. Whereas when you place them in a Bat Wave technique and then come through, you're essentially only attracting fire from these defenses first, then when them ones go down, you're attracting fire from these defenses, and so on and so forth. It just reduces the DPS on the bats. Again, they do go down on this one, but they've cleared enough of the base that essentially we can get around to this area. The last thing you want is to leave buildings on the inside of the base where you then have to go through walls. If you can keep everything just to kind of the perimeter, as you can see, it's a lot easier to clean up. But again, that's where balloons might be helpful in order to take that down. So again, I want to apologize. I've scouted out all of the different attacks. I thought this one was an island base, and I thought it was using the Bat Bomb technique. I have shown the Pekka BoBat as well in other videos, so make sure to check out my Town Hall 12 playlist on my homepage. If you are a different Town Hall level, I've also got playlists for that, by the way. But let's move on to the final attack, which I know for definite is the Pekkas and bowlers, but no bat spells. Final attack of the video, and we have my good friend Fog. It's fantastic to see him over here in Red Elite, but let's dive into the attack for you. Now, why would you use the Pekkas and bowlers only? Again, it's a very similar strategy, setting up that funnel, the Queen Charge. I haven't really mentioned the Queen Walk into Queen Charge tends to be a fantastic way of setting up the funnel, because the Queen, being a ranged troop, can take out buildings inside the base, which better sets the perimeter for the bowlers and sets up that funnel. So again, we've then set that, we're coming into the base. Essentially, you've got to think about spells. The bats need a decent amount of spells. You're going to have 5+ bat spells. Now, depending on where you're coming into the base and depending on what value you're trying to get, you might have to commit more spells. If you have to commit more spells, Fog decides to bring a couple of rage spells here. He then needs the jump spell to get across as well. He's already low on bat spells. If he then needs a freeze or anything for the bats, he basically doesn't have a lot. He might struggle to get this value. So that's the main thing on why you would and wouldn't take the bats. And again, it depends on the pathing of the base. It wasn't easy in order to strip down an area of the base in order to send the bats on this one, so it was better just to push the Pekkas and bowlers through. Ensure that you've got access through the base as well, though. That's where that jump spell comes in. And also consider that if you're not using something else on the back end, you might have seen, again, you can rewind the video to see it, but Fog used a heal spell just before they got into the jump, and that's basically to try and give them bowlers a boost. They essentially take a huge amount of damage, especially from splash buildings, so the heal can be useful if you're not using the bats. So that is the strategy. Be sure to leave a like if you've enjoyed it, and let me know down below which strategy you recommend for the Clan War Leagues. If you want to see the video breaking down the funnel, which is very relevant to this video, it is on your screen now. Go ahead and watch it, guys. But that wraps it up. Until next time, peace out.